I want to make sure that we honor everybody's time. So we said we were going to start at 11, and I'd like to go ahead and do that. And we've kind of scheduled it for about an hour. If we feel that we want to go a bit longer, I don't have a problem staying on and answering more questions after the fact. But at least in the meantime, what I really want to do is make sure that we keep on track. So welcome everybody to our first free question and answers informational overview for SCBWI Arizona. Just to give you an idea of who we are, my name is Tanja Bauerle. I'm going to be hosting this particular session. I am the Assistant Regional Advisor for the Arizona region of SCBWI. I am both illustrator and writer. I have illustrated several books, but I am not yet published in my writing, even though I am writing lots of picture books and also a graphic novel right now. So that's kind of where I'm coming from. Sharon, our fearless leader, is our regional advisor. She is head honcho in Arizona and responsible for this incredible team we've been able to pull together. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Sharon has several novels published. She has a picture book published with Sterling, so she writes across genre. And like we were saying, she is actually going to be writer in residence at the Tempe Public Libraries for the next 2 months beginning February. 3 months, sorry, 3 months. So you guys are able to sign up with for some consultations that are free and workshops that she's going to be offering throughout that residency. And the links are going to be in the chat. She has already put those links in the chat if anybody wants to take advantage of that. One more person that is part of our regional team is Michael Hale. Michael Hale is our illustrator coordinator, and he is going to be on this meeting at some point. But he is leading our illustrator content and activities. So that's kind of in a nutshell. What we're trying to accomplish with this particular meeting is to kind of give everybody an idea of what is SCBWI. Why would I want to join SCBWI? What are the resources that are accessible to us? Where can I find those? And that's kind of what we're trying to accomplish. And we have had several questions that tend to be very similar throughout the different Kidlit Mingles that we have. And I wanted to address those and then clarify some of those questions. And then at the end of the webinar, we will open up time for some additional Q&As. So what I'm going to start doing, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so that you guys can, I have a little PowerPoint because it's probably a little more interesting than looking at a talking head. So I'm going to share my screen. There we go. Okay, are you guys seeing the big logo over here? Yes. Oops, I can't see the chat.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, cool. Where'd my chat go? All right, I cannot see my chat. Oh, there it is. All right, I just want to make sure that I can see the chat as well. I'm not going to try and focus on the chat because it can be very easy to go off track. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through our, this is our logo. Obviously, you probably are aware of that. That was created several years ago by Juana Martinez Neal. Oops, is it not? Oh, great, no, it's not progressing. This, my screen is not wanting to advance right now. Why? Let me try that again. There we go. All right, so like I said, we're having a free SCBWI overview and Q&A web meeting. Welcome everybody. I know everybody's schedules are crazy, so I really appreciate everybody that has signed up and is here. We are recording this meeting, so we are going to share it. Share the link with everybody in case somebody has to leave early or if there's any information that you would like to go over again. So we are going to record it for you. So here's why we're here. These are some of the things that we're going to be talking about that I'm going to kind of be sharing with you. First of all, SCBWI, what is it? What do those crazy little letters stand for? What are the resources that we can access as being part of a member of this organization? We're going to talk a little bit, I'm going to talk about some of the upcoming events. We are actively planning lots of different activities and craft related events for our membership. And then we'll finish up with some more questions and answers. All right, 3 of the main items that, that come up on a continual basis is critique groups, how can you help me get published, and what are the PAL opportunities that are being offered. I'm going to go through each of these in detail to give you an idea of what we can do to help you with these areas, and also where you can find these resources. All right, so SCBWI, for those of you who are new, who are not a member yet, stands for the Society of Children's Book Writers and Illustrators. Lynn Oliver and Steve Muja established this in 1971. Back then, it actually was the SCBW. The I stands for Illustrators. That wasn't added until several years later, and it was Tommy DePaolo was the instrumental person on adding the illustrators, because for children's publishing, illustrators are very important in this industry. You would not have a picture book if it wasn't for an illustrator. So they, the SCBW became the SCBWI. It's a professional organization that is dedicated specifically for people that write and illustrate children's and young adult books. So the content is anything from board books all the way to young adult, in even yeah, so pretty much all across all genres. The mission is to support the creation and availability of quality books in every region of the world. So how do we do this? Well, we do this by helping people that are interested in this area find the information and resources that they will need in order to be able to make this a feasible career for them. So here's a couple of things that I want to always point out when I talk to people. SCBWI is a volunteer-run organization. So all of our regional team, our planning committees, our KLM hosts, everybody is a volunteer. Nobody's getting paid for this. Everybody that is involved does this because we love this industry. We love what we do. We understand that sometimes information in this about what we do isn't necessarily the easiest to find, and so we are dedicated to sharing and educating our membership and sharing information with people that would like to see this become part of their reality, is to be published in the children's market. So because we are not paid for this, I always want to make sure that people remember that we do this. We have full-time jobs. We have families. We have other volunteer organizations that we work with. So we do whatever we can to support this region in the most timely manner that we can. So be nice. If we don't immediately get to an email, or if we don't immediately address something, it's probably because we are very busy trying to, you know, make our own careers happen and working at a daytime job. I mean, Sharon, for instance, not only does she have a full-time daytime job, she has a writing career, and she's going to be a writer in residence, which adds, what, at least another 20 or so hours a week on top of her 40-hour schedule, on top of her SCBWI hours, and those are, so I just want you to be aware that the people that we are here for you, to help you and share information, but it's not as if your membership is paying us, because it's all a volunteer organization. And that is true across all regions. SCBWI is a society, is an organization that has regions not only all over the United States, but all over the world. So there are events and activities like the ones we are planning that are being structured in every region. So it's a lot of information for you to be able to have access to. All right, so let's go real quickly over who's who. I already kind of did this section. Sharon is our leader in Arizona. She's our regional advisor. I'm the assistant regional advisor, and Michael Hale is the illustrator coordinator. Sharon, have you seen him yet? Have you seen Michael yet? No? Okay. All right. Well, that's the three of us. The Sharon and Michael is the tall one in the middle. And then I'm over there with my necklace turned upside down. Anyway, we love what we do. We have an incredible team. And I don't think any of us could do any of this if it wasn't for all of us. But it gets even more intense because we have a planning committee. Our planning committee is there's 7 of us, and on the planning committee, anything that we do, that we schedule, we have 7 people that we kind of figure this out with. And the people that are on the planning committee are the 3 of us, Sharon, Michael, and myself. And then we have Diane White, who is the PAL liaison for Picture Book. She has several picture books published and also teaches writing at the Writing Barn. And she is a longtime retired teacher, so she comes from a very writing intensive background. Our PAL liaison for middle grade and young adult novels is Laura Ellen, also published with, is it Hachette? I don't remember. So she's a PAL published individual. Our social media coordinator is Todd Gordon. You've probably, if you've been to one of our regional conferences before, you will know Todd. He's our tech guy. He runs our tech generally. He wasn't at our last conference because of a conflict, but he is incredible, and he is our social media. All the emails that you get that say, hey, come to this event, that's all Todd. Member at large is Sarah Fujimara. She is an incredible novel writer, YA writer, and she is on our committee and is just one of the most, one of the nicest people that you will ever met. And she has so much. She is several books deep now, some self-published and some published with Tor. So an incredible group. So any decisions that come up with as far as content is concerned, that's all 7 of us. Huge shout out to Kelly Close. Kelly Close is one of our Kidlit Mingle hosts, but she is also the coordinator for all of our Kidlit Mingle hosts. So it kind of makes communication a lot easier. We also have a diversity team, and those people of the contacts are Hashida Jerath, Tanya Plank, and Sarah Fujimara. So you can see that immediately our regional volunteers, we already have a lot of people behind the scenes that are trying to bring really good content to you. However, it doesn't end there. We also have Kidlit Mingles. For those of you who are not familiar with what those are, our Kidlit Mingles are monthly or quarterly meetings that are run by volunteers. And if you notice, we have a lot of different ones already. We have one, Brent Potter just started one up in the Kingman area. We're up in Northern Arizona. Tom is taking care of Northern Arizona, and it tends to be a roving meeting because in Northern Arizona, our membership is very spread out. And so they sometimes meet in Prescott or Sedona or Cottonwood or Flagstaff. We just started a new one. Eric, thank you very much for North Scottsdale. Kelly runs the Phoenix Central, which covers Scottsdale, Paradise Valley as well. West Valley, Glendale, Surprise, Avenel, Mirage, they're all meeting over, Angela Morrison is the one that's running that. East Valley, we have Kathy and Eric. And then Tucson, right now we have Lori and Joanne, who are incredible at running our Tucson meeting. What is a mingle? A mingle is for you guys to get together and meet like-minded people and potentially maybe meet some people that you might be interested in joining a critique group with. So they're great. They are a member benefit. So the idea is you get to go to the first one for free, and even as a non-member, just so that you can kind of get an idea. But it is a member benefit. So in order to continue growing them, you really should become a member of SCBWI. Okay, so that's kind of who's who in Arizona. We are always looking for people to potentially in different areas, if they're interested in hosting a mingle, let us know. I know we have one in Tucson. Tucson is very spread out. So it'd be great to maybe have another one in a different area of Tucson so that people don't have to continuously drive to the one that we have down there. But at any rate, that's just who we are.
And keep in mind that with the Kidlit Mingles, you're welcome to go to any of them. With those,
Right.
The list of cities is just there to say that's kind of generally the area we're trying to cover.
Mm-hmm.
We have people who travel all over the valley to go to different Kidlit Mingles. And if you happen to be in Tucson and want to go to the Tucson one, or if you're from Tucson and happen to be in Kingman when the Kingman one is happening, you're welcome to go to any and all of those.
That's a really good point. And that actually translates through into different regions. If you ever want to join an event or a mingle or something like that in any other state, if you're in California or if you're in New York, SCBWI is a great community. So if you are somewhere and you are looking for some like-minded individuals to be able to connect with, by all means, go ahead and reach out to the regions in those areas. Now, one more thing I do want to specify is if you guys are not familiar with our website, here, the next slide, if you see, join us, event volunteers. If you are interested in helping out at our conference or any of our local events, we've done some book festivals, like the Tempe Book Festival, the Mesa Book Festival. Anytime that we have a presence at an event, we would love the help of some volunteers to help us with the event. And that can be set up and tear down, that can be just being at a table to share information. And if you're interested in doing that, let me see, I am going to go and show you, nope, that's the, what I want to do, some of the things I want to show you is I want to actually show it to you live. So here's our website. If you look, can you guys see that? I just want to make sure, okay. Over here, a lot of the information that I'm talking about is going to be pertaining to some of these links that you see over here. If you're interested in volunteering, click on this link down here, and that will take you to the volunteer interest form. Because if you're only interested in maybe helping out at registration at the at one of our regional conferences, you know, just select here. Or if you want to do anything, the only way that we're going to be able to know that you want to help is if you fill this out, because we keep this in a central area. And when Sarah, our incredible member at large, organizes all of our volunteers for the conferences, that's kind of what she goes by, is who wants to do what. So this is a great resource to be familiar with. Okay, yes, lovely, but why in the world should I join? Well, there are lots and lots and lots of resources. And remember, we talked with I want to go back to some of the questions. Critique groups, how can you get me published, and POW opportunities? Well, here's kind of where this takes us. Let's start with critique groups. One thing I want everybody to be aware of, we do not create critique groups for you. Why? Critique groups are a very individual scenario. I can't just say, hey, there are 3 writers, they want a critique group, go ahead and meet with each other. Well, that's not going to work. What if one is a picture book writer? What if one is an illustrator that doesn't write? And what if one is a YA person? You guys need to connect with people individually and meet them to know if that is a person that you're willing to critique with, because personalities and what are you trying to get out of a critique group, those all play into it, and SCBWI really can't manage that. So that is why when we say, hey, let me join a critique group, well, it doesn't quite work that way, because it becomes very personality. I mean, some people only show up to critique groups if they have something to get critiqued. Well, if it's a critique group, you work together at that goal. And so, you know, if that is what you're looking for, well, then maybe you need to find people that are looking for the same thing. But what can we do as SCBWI to make you connected with other like-minded individuals? If you're not familiar with this, over here, back on this bar, is one that says critique groups. Now, if you are not a member, you are going to see this. You're going to see access denied. This is restricted to members. Now, if you log in, I'm going to log in over here real quick. Once I log in, I'm going to, whoops, there we go. Okay, once you log in, I just logged in to, this is the main SCBWI headquarters page. So I'm logged in right now, but once I'm logged in here, what I can do is now if I go to my Arizona page and I click in on critique group, this is what I see. So what you are able to do and what we update on a monthly basis is this page. This particular page allows you to submit your information of what you're looking for. For instance, we have one individual, they're looking for fiction, middle grade, and chapter books. In person or online, a location preferred in Tucson. What you're looking for is to start or join. So, I mean, you start to get an idea of this is a really great way to start finding people that might be in your area, that might be looking for a specific type of critique group. We only put this up here if you send us the information. So what you need to do, it details here what you need to do, what you need to send to us, how, you know, the email address in that, I'm falling over my words. So Arizona.RA SCBWI, that's Sharon's email address. So Sharon is the one that is going to be able to access that for you and update this. If you want to be taken off this list, same thing. You need to email information to Sharon to be able to do that. So this is a really great start. I think one of the best way to meet like-minded people is the Kidlit Mingles though. So if you are in Tucson and you go to the Kidlit Mingle, there might be people there that are interested and say, hey, I'm looking for a critique group. The Kidlit Mingles aren't really designed for you to go there for the first time and bring a manuscript and say, hey, fix it for me or critique it for me. It really is a ability for people to get together and talk about the industry and talk about writing and about what they've, you know, it's more of a mingle. It's not really a functioning critique group. So that is one of the big things that I wanted to share with everybody, because I don't think a lot of people understand that that is part of your benefit, and that's part of what we have on the website, because you don't see it if you're not a member. Okay, so that's that. Okay, we just went through this. So this is what it looks like if you're not logged in. This is what it looks like when you are logged in. All right, best way, let's meet people in person at events. I know that a lot of critique groups have started at the, people have met at our regional conference, which takes place in the fall. If you sit there and you spend a day with somebody, you start getting to know them a little bit better. And I know a lot of critique groups have met that way. All right, so that kind of is in a nutshell what we're going to do with critique groups. Sharon, are you following the chat if there's anything? I haven't really been looking.
I'm watching it. I got
Okay,
this.
so there's nothing I need to focus on, everything
You're
good?
good. Keep going.
All right, so, there we go. So I'm new, I wrote a book. I want you to get it published. How can I, joining SCBWI, how can you get my book published? Well, I hate to break it to you. There is no secret handshake. It's not a matter of, hey, I joined now and there's, oh, sorry, I looked at something funny. There is no secret handshake. It's not that I'm now a part of this organization and now we all have an in and we know what to do now and now my book is going to get published. The reality of it is it takes hard work, dedication, passion, drive, commitment, devotion, and a love for craft. Chances are, if you've just written a manuscript, it is not yet ready for publication. It needs to be revised and edited and massaged. Writing for children, say you're a picture book writer, it's an incredibly difficult thing to do. People sometimes think, it's a kid's book, it's easy. I'm just going to write whatever, it's kids that are reading it, right? So it doesn't really matter what I write. Well, unfortunately, that is not the case, because there are a lot of publication expectations that are going to be part of what makes it a publishable manuscript. For instance, did you know that a picture book now, the standard is 500 words or less? the pictures take up as much content as what the writing does. And that means you don't need to describe the character has red hair with a bow that is green with dots on it. That is all the domain of the illustrator. So there's a lot that needs to go into writing a manuscript. So that's why the focus on craft is so important. You need to be able to understand what is expected of you and your manuscript before you start submitting it. Yes, that's all lovely, but why should I join? What's the benefit if I still need to do all the work? Well, the reality of it is we can give you the information, but you still have to apply the information. So the really nice thing is we have a lot of resources, very easy, accessible resources that are going to make your journey a lot easier. Did you know? Membership rates for events, conferences, workshops, or you sign up events, it's a lot less expensive if you're a member. I think there's at least a $30 difference for our conference if you're a member versus if you're not a member. We have a YouTube channel. We have a book that lists all the publishers. I'm going to go through this in more detail. We have a bulletin, and we have the Insight e-newsletter. There's podcasts. There's a speakers bureau. You have access to grants and awards. There's discussion boards if you want to field a very specific question. So there are lots and lots of different items here that are at the tip of your fingers. In case you're not familiar, SCBWI has recently started a YouTube channel, and it is just at the beginning phase of it, but there are lots and lots of different videos that you can access through the YouTube channel. Books for Readers is one of the programs that SCBW runs on a yearly basis. There are, if you go over to the playlists over here, under this one, welcome, it kind of gives you an overview. So I'm not going to go through the whole thing right now. Sorry. There we go. But it gives you, it kind of does a much more concise a version of what I'm doing right now, and it gives you an idea of what SCBWI is. Like, welcome, how do I use the website, what are some of the frequently asked questions, the book launch parties, all these types of things. And so I really wanted to make sure people are aware of that particular aspect. Yeah, okay, and that resource. So that's the YouTube channel. Yeah. Okay, the book. The book is an incredible resource, and if you have not accessed it, this is what you're going to do here. I'm going to do this live actually on here. I think I might need to. I still have to re-sign in again. Sorry, guys. Hello. Hello. Okay. All right. If you go back to the home page here. Hello. Sorry. If you go to publications, and again, this is a member benefits. A non-member is not going to be able to see this. Essential Guide to Publishing for Children. If you click on this, if you're signed in, you're going to be able to access it right here. The PDF version of this book is free to members. It is updated throughout the year. Or if you would prefer an actual book, you can order a printed copy, which is $6.25 plus shipping.
It comes out to about $15, I think, when you get it
right,
shipped.
Because it's a pretty substantial book. I have an earlier version here that I can show you in a little bit. But if you click on the PDF, oh, come on. Sorry, guys. Where did it go?
The difference between the printed version and the digital is, the biggest difference is that, of course, the digital is searchable, which I think Tanya's going to show you now, but also that it's updated more often than the print version. The print version is only, I think, updated once a year, and the digital is, I'm not sure if it's quarterly or every 6 months.
But if you look at it, all the different content, preparing and submitting your work, market surveys, directories and resources, publicizing your published work, school visits. I mean, there is a lot of information. But again, you can't get to it by osmosis. You have to actually go through and read it and actually try and figure out which portion you are particularly interested in right now. From keyboard to printed page. When you sign up for a critique at our national conference, there are very specific guidelines that need to be followed as to how that manuscript needs to be set up. And the information is very concise here in the book. We do share this with our conference attendees, but in case you're wondering what any of this, how do I do this? There's a lot of information here. The query letter, how to write a query letter, what even is a query letter, a synopsis if you're trying to submit a novel, a long format manuscript, what needs to be included in a synopsis, if you're an illustrator. Now, if you go further down, I'm trying to get to the publishers. Let's see, there's lots of different articles in here. In fact, Michael is going to have one in next year's that talks about publishing alternatives. I'll talk a little bit more about that. But when you start getting into the market surveys, what it does is it shows the name of the publisher, who the editors are, what type of books they publish, what they're looking for, how to submit. If you look at this here, query letters, not accepting, multiple submissions, not accepting. Some of the publishers are only accepting from agented individuals. But let's look at, okay, like for instance, Abrams' book for young readers. Abrams, I'm trying to find this here, artwork interest, yes. So you can send samples to Chad Beckerman, who actually was at our conference a couple of years ago. They are not accepting unsolicited manuscripts. So you know that one you would need an agent for. But if you notice, all of the publishers, there's publishers that you might not even think of. It's, Bloomsbury. Here's a Bloomsbury one. A lot of the bigger houses you do need an agent for, but you are able to get all this information right here. And the one thing, like for instance, look at Chronicle. Chronicle is open, is accepting queries. They're accepting multiple submissions. What that means is you've sent one manuscript to several different places. Some publishers don't want you to do that. Chronicle accepts that. They even accept unsolicited manuscripts. So, but you need to go through here and read exactly how they want you to submit, because that is going to be different for each publisher. Some people, and Chronicle, I think, is one of the ones that actually wants a physical submission. So you mail your manuscript to them and follow the guidelines that are outlined here. A lot of other publishers are looking to basically just receive an electronic submission. So that's very specific to each publisher. But this book alone, I think, is worth the membership only because it has so much information. Yes, all of this information is available online somehow through the internet. However, all of the searching has been taken care of for you, and it's been put into one central location. If you're not thinking about publishing, there's magazines, there's an agent list in here. There are lots of different things in this book, and we could spend literally hours looking at this book. So I'm trying to not do that right now.
Yeah. So Tanja, could you show us one more time how to navigate to the book? Yes. from the SCBWI homepage? Definitely.
So if you sign in, I'm logged in now. If you go up to where it says publications, the very first link that you're going to see is called the book, and that is the book that we were just looking at. If you click on that, you are able to access the PDF version by clicking this link up here. Again, you must be logged in as a member to be able to access this. The PDF link is right here. that when you click on that, that's when you get to that book. You are able to download that PDF version so that you can have it at home on your computer. Or if you want to be able to order a physical printed copy, they will send it to you. But you need to click the order here, and then you can, I believe, order it online. Let's see what happens. Yes, you need to fill out all this information, and then
yeah, I'm surprised it didn't automatically fill it, because normally it would for an event. But yeah,
that's true. I am logged in, so I wonder. Well, you would just have to put the info in there. Whoops, I didn't want to do that. Okay, so does that kind of cover the book for you? Does that make sense?
Thank you.
Okay, so what I'm going to do now is go back to my little PowerPoint. Okay. Okay, so we talked about the book. Here's another thing, the SCBW bulletin and the inside. This particular, that's the brand new one. Let's go back to the website. It's basically a quarterly book that you get. Yep. We just got ours I just got the new one I think this week. Where are we at? Here we go. All right, so if we go back up here, if you see SCBWI bulletin, click on that. If you are logged in, you can access this. You have the option of either receiving this through electronically, or you can receive an actual newsletter that is, how many pages is that one? 35, 36 pages long. But you are able to access it online. Now, if we click here, you can access the latest bulletin or the archive. So you have access to all the previous ones. And just to give you an idea of what type of information is in there, what's it doing now? No. Yeah. Whatever. All right. That's this month's, this quarter's. All of these illustrations that you see in here are submitted by members. You can submit your illustrations, and you actually end up getting a publishing credit for that if they select one of yours. And I think, do they pay you like $25 or something? I think
they pay for articles, and I think they pay for illustrations. It's not a ton of money, but it's a publishing credit, and it is a small amount.
Right, but at least, you have a publishing credit, so you can submit articles, you can submit illustrations, and then this is, every SCBWI member gets these. And if you look, there's lots and lots of information. The person that does the cover is generally featured. There's a lot of different, there's some success stories.
It actually says in the submission, if you go back to the inside cover where you were, it's $25 for an illustration, and they pay $50 for an article.
Oh, okay. But if you notice that all the information that you see in this is going to be very specific to stuff that pertains to children's publishing, marketing. The one thing that I did notice when I was looking at this earlier, over here in the publisher's corners, it actually shows you editors. Editors move from house to house sometimes. If you remember a few years ago, Russell Bussey over here from Little Brown came to a conference. Well, he's now a part of Abrams and has joined the editorial department as a senior editor. So you kind of get in a really good idea of who's who and where they're moving to. So this is a great resource. Then awards that have been given. There's just lots of different information. Regional events, and I noticed we only have a couple of things in here, Sharon. We need to make sure that we figured that, do that. But
if it's on the calendar, it should get listed.
But I think for the physical, I wonder if there's a deadline.
There is, and they only list, and I forget, I think it's 90 days out, and they only list the physical stuff. And they don't list kidlit mingles, they only list the big stuff.
Well, it's interesting because, anyway. So this is a great resource. So I'm not going to go through it in a lot of detail. You do have access to the previous ones.
They do have our kidlit mingles in there, don't they?
They do, but they don't have all of them, which is why I was kind of confused by that. One of the other thing is the Insight newsletter. The Insight newsletter is a digital e-newsletter that comes out on a on a monthly basis. So if you wanted to look at the one from last year, again, these are member benefits. So it's, you know, the Bookstop. Sharon, you want to talk just real briefly about what Bookstop is?
Bookstop is a place where you, if you are have a book coming out, you can actually put it, well, it's any book that you have published, I think. You pay $25 and you can build a page on the Bookstop where people can see your book, see how to purchase your book. You can put links to it. You can put little videos there. You can put a little blurb there, whatever it is you want to. It's one more place to list and market your book. Now, a lot of people will say, well, how many people are going to go to SCBWI to look for my book? Well, I do it because, for one thing, it's one more place on the web for the bots to find my book. So, you know, when the little electronic bots go out and they're looking at listings and they're looking at keywords, this is one more place for me to have my title of my book and keywords for my book, so that it kind of, my understanding, my limited understanding, is that it helps to raise me up in the Google searches and those sorts of things.
And it's another imprint, right? It's another place people can actually see you.
Right. And SCBWI this year just has started to do a lot more marketing to get this information out into the world and to kind of get more people to come to the site. So they're trying to generate a lot more traffic so that it is an opportunity to make your book more visible.
Okay, so this is Insight. So there's lots of different articles, and this comes out monthly. So if you're not aware about what's going on, this is a great way to just get an overview of some of the things that SCBWI is doing. Oh, draw this. They have a monthly drawing prompt for illustrators. So and then if you're one of the one that is a winner, you get posted. And I'm not exactly sure. I know that Michael is going to be talking more about this when we're having an illustrator webinar in a couple of months, so he can share more information about that. But lots of success stories and different things. So this is also a really neat benefit to have. All right, so Insight. Let's see what else is on my list here. Let's see. Oh, PowerPoint. There we go. All right, so the bulletin, we've got the Insight podcast. Again, this is something that you're only going to see if you are a member. But there are some really interesting podcasts on here. And if we go back over here, let's look at podcasts. If you're linked in, you can actually listen. Nimrata Tripathi. That's the preview. Sorry, I don't want to do that. Ooh, but if you click on these, am I logged in here? No, yep, I am. I'm trying to see some of these. The trailer. I don't want to go to the trailer. Oh, here we go. Click here for full podcasts. So if you look at these, there's two parts. I mean, they're like half an hour each. Some of them are a little bit longer, but Bruce Coville, you end up with lots of information. So if you're sitting here and painting or doing something and you want to just listen to some industry-specific, kid-led industry-specific content, you can do that here. So I'm trying to keep track of on time. We have a bunch more to go through, so I don't want to. Does that kind of, are people aware of that they have this as a benefit, the podcasts? I just, let's see. All right, so podcasts. Speakers Bureau. Okay, here's something really interesting that maybe you're not familiar with. SCBWI, you can, let's look a little bit more about, there we go. If you go over here to where it says, oh, where is it? Speakers Bureau. You are able to, as a member, list yourself as a potential speaker to potentially get speaking engagements or visits or different types of things. So let's say I'm looking for maybe picture book arranged, somebody that would even do Skype visits. Let's see. I didn't restrict it to any region. So here's access to all these different authors and illustrators that might be interested in doing presentations. And this gives you the ability to be seen by people that are looking for content. Let's say if we're just looking at Arizona with those same criteria as 5 to 6, and we'll do Skype visits. Let's see who's on there. There I am. But as you can see, there's quite a few. And then if you were to click on one of those, let's see Nate, it gives you the information, and then people are able to access and connect with you. So this is a great benefit because it's, you know, it's very content specific, and if somebody is looking for something like that, they're able to get the information here. When we look at the next one, awards and grants. This is a biggie, and I'm not sure if people realize that they have access to this. You want to be able to, you can, if you go over here to awards and grants, it lists for writers, for illustrators, for published authors and illustrators, for translators, community grants, grants for students. Go through these. Like, this is where you would apply for them, and you can apply for, you know, until you win one. Because you are able to, let's look at, for instance, the Work in Progress Award. If you click on that, for the submissions are accepted in March. It is for picture book, text, chapter book. There's one winner for each of these 7 categories. And then the award, the winners, work submitted by winners will be made available on a secure web page and presented to a hand-selected group of editors for their consideration. Although it's not a guarantee of publication, the opportunity to have your work presented to an acquiring editor along with SCBWI endorsement is a unique opportunity. And I mean, these are not, you don't have to pay to submit to these. You need to just, that's all part of your membership. If you're an illustrator, the Don Freeman grant, the award is 2 grants of $1,000 each will be awarded annually, which, you know, that's pretty nice. All you have to do is submit your work. So this is for members. What's my next item? Discussion boards. Discussion boards. I don't know if you guys remember Verla K's Blue Boards years ago. But Verla K started the Blue Boards, which is a discussion board that is specific to the Kidlit area. She basically combined these. She gave these over to SCBWI. So the discussion boards that you see here are what the Blue Boards used to be. But where are these discussion boards? Again, you need to be logged in as a member. If you go up to where it says over here, My Home, click on that. And then you get to your little dashboard here, your little dashboard. This is where you would update your info. As you can see, mine is extremely wordy and I haven't updated it in a while. So I need to actually go through and update that. You can list your illustrations here. You can list all of your books that have been published here. You can have your content information. That's all done here through your home dashboard. But the discussion boards are actually here. Again, you have to be a member and be logged in order to see them. But if you click on those, you have lots and lots of information that you have access to at the click of a finger. Writing, illustrating, and publishing, illustrating, research. Nonfiction is a huge part of the industry right now. And so specific research is something that is very, you know, if you have questions about it, you can post questions on this here. The craft of writing, contests and challenges, genre-specific categories. So, and if you look at it, there's a lot of posts there. So there's a lot of information that you can have access to. Now, the initial time that you enter here, I believe you need to set yourself up with a login here. I think I've done that. So let's see what we can maybe look at. What about contests?
Yeah,
and,
you register yourself.
Right.
It's just so you have a user name and all of that.
Right, and so that people can see you when you start leaving notes. But if you look, there's a lot of different.
Well, the read me first.
I'm sorry.
the read me first, that's right here at the top of your, almost at the top, just under the blue bar.
Mhm.
That's important because it's the guidance of how to use the discussion boards. And that was originally posted by Verla when she passed the blue boards along to becoming the discussion boards. So that's a critical one. I honestly say read it first.
Okay. So did anybody, are there any questions I should specifically focus on, Sharon?
We're actually getting a lot of that answered as we go along. So
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. But these are great. And again, a lot of info, you can search out all this information on the internet raw and it'll take you forever. But this is very specific information to topics that you might be interested in as it pertains to the kid-lit industry.
One of the questions we did have earlier was about, finding a critique group, and could if you're struggling to find a match here in the Valley through the Kidlit Mingles, maybe looking at the blue boards or the discussion board for an online critique group. So
I bet you, let me see if there's a section. I wonder if you can just add a section if it isn't already on here.
My guess is there are people who are exchanging manuscripts, because I haven't been on there lately, but at some point, I remember looking at that. But I think there's a way to search, isn't there? For topics, no?
Register.
I don't know if you're logged in, so.
I am. I don't know. I haven't actually used the blue boards in a while, but it is, oh, here it is. Okay, so let's try critique. I'll just do critique. Let's see. Anyone open to critique group or beta readers? So yeah, you can search for critique specific. Slots are full. Topic has been moved to critique groups. So there is a critique section somewhere. So let's go find it. Critiques. Critiques. All right. Let's do. Group. Okay, so what you could possibly do is maybe start your own discussion thread on here to do that. So
I would troll through though first, just to make sure, because there is a lot of information there, and I admit that you're gonna have to spend a few minutes with it, but I recommend that you just scroll through, spend a little time, search for critique, and go see what some of those discussions are, because some of those discussions may lead you to people who are looking for other critiquers. Again,
and that goes back to, it will take some work to get this information sometimes, because the resources are there, but if you're looking for something very specific, you're going to probably, actually, I don't think I'm logged in, I just realized.
Yeah, I don't think you're logged in.
Yeah. But it might take you a while to work and to get to the point that you want, but you have the resource there, you have the information there to be able to get to some of these answers. Does that help a little bit?
Yeah, I think everybody's pretty happy with that.
Okay. Going back here, we talked about, the different discussion boards. Let me see where I'm at with my little program. Discussion boards. Okay, it talks about that. Oh, one thing, webinars are a really great way, and we're trying to do more of that because Arizona is a very spread out state, and it's hard for somebody at the very corner of a state to maybe come to an event. So we're going to try and do a little bit more online and offer some online content. But if you are not familiar, if we haven't got anything going on, the Nevada chapter of SCBWI has dedicated a page on their regional page that lists specific webinars that are coming up. So
across the world. This is webinars from any other region. We can't push them out through our messaging all the time because it's just too much. But we want you to be aware that you can always go here and look if you're looking for a webinar that's specific to what you want to learn.
Now, if you look, I'm going to, this is what it looks like, this link here, but I will show you where to find that on the SCBWI page. This is the Nevada SCBWI webinar page. And if you look, Dakotas, New York, Indiana, lots of different places, international webinars. I know that there have been some in Europe that people have been able to access to. So you're not limited geographically to some really great content. But if you go back to the SCBWI homepage, actually,
Click on the kite.
Just
Click on the kite. The kite will take you there.
Yep.
The kite will always take you there.
There we go. All right. I believe, where is that? There's a link somewhere I found online. Do you remember where it is?
Events? No.
No.
No, I think you have to
Maybe. Okay, so you might need to go to the chapter, but if you look over here, local chapters. So if you go to regional chapters, these are all the chapters you have access to. So there's all the ones in the United States, and then you have all the international ones. And the Nevada one, if you click on the Nevada one, you would be able to have access to that.
Yeah, I think it's on Josh's list to add
to the main.
But his list is pretty substantial.
Okay, so Josh is the headquarters tech web guy. So anything that is going to end up getting changed and added to the main page goes through Josh. So that's who Sharon was talking about. I can't believe we're like almost out of time, guys. I apologize. I talk too much. All right. So that goes back. We've just gone through all of those. Pal up. I wanted to, sorry. That's one thing I wanted you to look at, Sharon, my pal. The one thing I wanted to really quickly get to on PAL opportunities is presentations. What we try to do is we always try to highlight, draw from our local Arizona's talent pool to provide additional information, to provide content. So we have some webinars and workshops coming up. Our regional conference, we generally have at least one, if not more, regional success story or person from Arizona that is a member that is going to, we've had Nate Evans, Amy Domini, Bobby Martin, Bill Koenigsberg. So we've had lots of different people. Next, this coming conference, we have people as well. We're not disclosing that yet. But the neat thing about presenting locally is Michael is kind of a success story, and actually so is Juana, because they presented locally. And what happens is once we have a presentation locally by somebody, we actually share that information on our listserv with all the other regions in the of SCBWI. And we say, this is what the content was, this is what we did, this is how it was structured. They have gotten work in other regions based on those comments. And once you've presented locally, you have the ability to go local and even into national and possibly even internationally. Michael, for instance, with his Publishing Alternatives workshop, is now going to have an article in the book for the next edition of the book. So it kind of is a really neat opportunity. I think we're going to have Diane and Alan actually present a meeting similar to this that is going to focus more heavily on the PAL opportunities, because there's so much more than what we can go through right now. And we are 2 minutes out from, I said I was going to honor your time, so I apologize. I do want to really go through quickly with some of the events that we have coming up. One thing that you want to always do, if you're looking for some information, the one place that you want to go to and that you can see what the calendar on our Arizona page, this calendar right here, anything that has a little square around it, there's an event. So if you click on today, for instance, today there was the West Valley Mingle with Angela Morrison this morning, and then we have our free webinar that we're doing right now. But if you click on, like for instance, February 26th, we have Diane Phelps's webinar happening. I'm going to talk a little bit about that. But if you're ever in need of some inspiration, or you want to get some craft focused, or just get together, look for these calendars on our main page. Anything that has a little highlight on it, a little box around it, is an event that is coming up.
All the Kidlit Mingles are also listed here, so.
Now, so obviously we've got this one. I just did that. We have lots and lots of kidlet mingles. Like Sharon said, they're all listed all over the place. And then all you have to do is click on them to see where they are and when they are. The same pertains to any other region. If you are somewhere else, look on their calendar. If you want to meet somebody while you're in San Diego, look at their calendar. You can meet up with people there. Diane Phelps is our first our first webinar coming up. That's actually a really helpful one for PAL members because it's focusing on book reviews. Book reviews are a really important part when your book comes to market. So that is something that she's going to be focusing on. It's an hour and a half-ish type of webinar, and she's going to be taking you through how to get book reviews, what you need to do in order to be successful in that. Make sure that make sure you sign up for it online though. Where the next meeting is, we have actually several things happening on February 2nd. Our diversity team organizational meeting is taking place in Mesa at the Chamber of Commerce. If you're interested in attending, go ahead and RSVP to Sarah. This information is on our website, so you just need to click on it there.
Tanya, can you tell us what PAL is?
Oh, I apologize. PAL is something that is, it stands for Publish and Listed. That is basically the traditional way that somebody got published, as opposed to possibly a hybrid way of getting published or self-published. And it's a qualifier that SCBWI came up with just to kind of differentiate it a little bit. But here's what you want to look at. If you are interested in, I think it's under home. If you remember, you want to go into your dashboard, PAL request form. If you have been published and you do not see, if your publisher is not a PAL publisher, I would urge you to go ahead and have your publisher fill out this for you or for themselves.
You fill it out and you request that they consider your publisher as a PAL publisher. So what happens is, because there are so many small presses popping up that are legitimate presses now, they may not be listed yet, so you may not be considered PAL, but you can request to have them reviewed and considered to become PAL. They just have to meet certain criteria.
But so that, and the good thing about being PAL is there are some specific activities and events and things that SCBWI that are specific to PAL members, such as the, gosh, Sharon, help me.
Well, when the reading list is published, it's published and it's differentiated between PAL and between indie. Indie now is what we're using to talk about self-publishing. We know that there are some really good books that are indie books, but they still continue to differentiate between the traditional PAL published and the indie published. There are grants and things that awards that you are only, you either apply to as an indie, like the Crystal Kite, or as a trad PAL published, which would be the Golden Kite. So different things like that, that they kind of differentiate the awards and things for. Okay.
So, okay, does that help with the PAL thing?
Yeah.
Okay, our diversity team is an inclusion team, which means we're trying to be inclusive of any marginalized groups, but it's still in the developmental phase. So right now, if it's something that interests you, that you would like to be part of, definitely reach out, and we would love to have you join up with us. I apologize that I am going over time. I will try and be quick here. Illustrator meeting in Tucson. Michael and I try to come to different meetings every so often, but we are located in Phoenix, so we don't always make it to all of the different regions. But we are going to be both down in Tucson on February 2nd for the next Illustrator meeting. Going to be at the U of A.
February 1st. February 1st.
What?
February 1st. Right?
No, it's the 2nd. It's that Saturday.
Oh, you just need the RSVP by the 1st. I'm sorry.
Yes, yes. So because we need to make sure that we have, again, this is a member benefit, but it's really a neat way to be able to meet other illustrators if you guys are an illustrator. Oh, Lynn, I just saw on your question, does the book have magazines listings for submissions?
I answered that in the chat.
Oh, sorry. Okay, so that's Tucson. And it said U of A. Michael is also going to be hosting a web meeting like what we are doing right now on March 7th in the evening, which is going to talk specifically to illustrators and what type of SCBWI opportunities are offered to members. There are lots of different awards and contests and different things, but he is going to talk on that in a little bit more detail. But oh, this is a really neat one coming up March 16th. It is an in-person workshop that is going to be up at the Chamber of Commerce in Mesa. It's a screenwriting workshop. And the really neat thing is a lot of books and even picture books have become famous, successful movies and series. And Janae brings with her an incredible resume of screenwriting. She actually worked with Tyler Perry's House of Pain and worked on the first 100 episodes of his show. So she brings with her a wealth of information about screenwriting. So if this is something at all that you're interested in, go ahead and join us and sign up for it through the website. Again, the rate for members is less than non-members. Also, put your calendar, save the date, September 20th and 21st. We have our this year's regional conference. It is at the same venue that we had last year, which is the Phoenix Marriott in Mesa. We will disclose more information as it becomes available. Right now, we are finalizing our faculty. We have, I think, 3 already all figured out and just waiting to figure out the paperwork. We're not going to disclose it right now, but we're very excited about the people that we have coming this year. And the regional conference is, like I said, a great opportunity for people to meet like-minded individuals that potentially you might want to critique with, as well as a great opportunity to have your work being critiqued by industry faculty and established writers and illustrators, which is a very, very helpful way to bringing your writing to the next level. Okay. I think that's all my basic content. Mike, I apologize. We are currently 7 minutes over, but I wanted to see if there are any other questions that might have come up through this program that you might have that I could maybe field at this point. I know that we are going a bit over. If you feel that you need to leave, that is totally fine. We're going to continue recording and we'll share the link to this recording with everybody. So I apologize that I'm a little long-winded, but if you have any questions, let me know. I'm more than happy to. I'm going to stop sharing right now.
We're also looking at developing, you saw the web page that, the YouTube page that SCBWI has, and we are actually looking at doing our own YouTube page where we are hoping to post types of videos. The free ones will be posted on that YouTube page. So, oh, good question. Tanya, what date did we have to open the September conference registration?
Last year, we opened it on June 1st. However, this year, the conference is a week earlier, and we're trying to still figure out exactly what time frame we're looking at. It will probably be the end portion of May, possibly June 1st. We don't have an exact date yet, but it's going to be in that vicinity. One thing I do want to urge everybody, we offer a faculty dinner where you can pay extra to have dinner with the faculty, and it's kind of a very informal, getting to know people a little bit. That sold out the first day registration opened.
Yeah, so we'll announce it in plenty of time so you can plan to get on right away, and we'll post the time and the date that registration will open. So if you want to be an early bird and grab one of those seats at the dinner, you'll be able to do that. Lynn, to your question, are published magazine story authors ever considered as PAL members? Yes.
Yes.
Yes, they are.
Yep.
If you have a published magazine story in the kidlit arena, it has to be kidlit. So it either has to be in a kidlit magazine, a kidlit craft magazine, the SCBWI Insight, that sort of thing, where you were paid or whatever. You can submit that and that will make you a PAL member. And once a PAL member, always a PAL member. If you're a PAL member for magazine, you're a PAL member. Doesn't matter what other things you're doing, if they're indie or not, or PAL, then that's qualification for PAL.
Susan had an interesting question. I want to address that. What are the dues applied towards if mostly volunteers? Headquarters. Headquarters, we do have, they do have employees that are paid. They have the infrastructure of putting these websites together, just the logistics of running a business. That is where those dues go. They don't come to the region. Sharon, did you want to add to that?
Yeah, so yes, the dues go to pay for the office space in LA for headquarters. The dues pay for the staffing of that. All of the people who work in LA at headquarters are paid staff. They are the only paid staff. That includes Josh, our IT guy, and the different people who are the conference coordinators and things like that. It also goes to pay for things like the grants that you apply for and that you can get for your work in progress. It goes to pay for the awards. So if you are a Crystal Kite Award or a awardee or a Golden Kite winner, then it will pay for your travel to go to the conference because that's part of the award. So it's this Zoom webinar stuff, this platform is not free, and headquarters pays for the use of the Zoom licenses so that we can use this platform. So I could go on, the insurance, so that when we do a conference locally, and so when you pay for your conference registration, the money that you pay covers the conference. It covers the venue, the food, the faculty, their travel, bringing those people in. That's what your actual registration for a workshop or a conference pays for. The insurance, so that we can use those spaces because we're required to have insurance, is covered by the dues that you paid because headquarters manages that. I think there's plenty of other stuff, but that's pretty much the big kind of big picture stuff.
Right. Lynn, you asked about Kidlit e-zine. I would have the people doing that e-zine fill out that form.
Well, I think don't you have to fill out the form?
Oh, is it? Oh, maybe that's what it is. Yeah, I don't know.
You have to fill out the form and request them to be considered as PAL. And then headquarters has someone who will do the research to determine if they qualify as a PAL publisher. So that would be, I don't know if, I don't think that they would say e-zines are not included. It's publisher by publisher.
Okay, Jennifer, I'd like to address that. Your question is, so why is most of the SCBWI AZ day workshops and such require additional fees, and why aren't they covered by the yearly membership? Well, the yearly membership are assigned to the different items that what Sharon had just specifically said. What happens is when we have an in-person webinar, either an in-person workshop or a webinar, we have to pay our presenters. If it's an in-person one, we have to pay for the room. We don't make money. We're not pricing these to make money. We're pricing these to cover the costs that are associated with running these events. So that's what why you see fees associated with some of these workshops. Does that answer your question, Jennifer? Yeah, I understand that, well, I pay a membership, so what am I getting for it? And I think what we went through today, we're trying to make you realize that it is a really huge resource that you have access to, and trying to maintain such a large website and those discussions. I mean, that there's a cost associated.
Even just the book, maintaining the book and keeping it updated and those kinds of things takes staff time to do that. So there's that. And then running this organization and making sure that we, the volunteers, are still doing our jobs and that we have some resources to do our jobs, and, you know, that sort of thing. That takes staff time. So yeah, so all the membership dues pay for the overhead, if you will, the administrative costs, the staff time, and then the actual money that you pay for a workshop or a conference pays for that workshop or that conference.
Does that help everybody? Do you feel a little bit more confident about what it is we're doing?
Informed. Do you feel more informed, really?
Right, there you go. I've been talking too much.
No, the idea was that, no, and you did a great job, Tanja. Thank you. Everyone, please thank Tanja. You did an amazing job, Tanja, and we really appreciate it and appreciate the organization. Thank you, everyone, for attending, for asking these awesome questions. We so appreciate you, and we appreciate you being members, because we want to do this stuff to help you, but we also want to do it because we want to learn about the craft and keep ourselves in the business. And you know, we have a passion for this, but we also, if it weren't for you, we wouldn't be here, right? We wouldn't be doing this. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much. And like we said, we're recording, so we are going to share this so that if you want to re-listen to it, if you don't know how to get to something, we will give you access to this, and we'll make it public for everybody to see once we figure that portion of it out. But all right, if there's no other questions, then we can go ahead and end. I apologize, we did go about 15, 16 minutes over, but I thought there was some good information to be shared.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Have a wonderful rest of your weekend.
Yes.
Happy writing and illustrating.
Bye, everybody.